Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about Harris, former Vice President Harris, and how she is positioning herself at this point in time to run for the 2020 presidential election. This video is being recorded on Friday, July 25th at 1:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as and when I'm recording this video. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. If you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, watching the video longer than normal. Really help boost the algorithm here on YouTube. I will also include a donation link in the description below, but my recommendation is don't donate. The best thing you can do is sit back, relax, and enjoy and watch the content. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's begin. I know we have a lot to talk through about today. I know I hate long intros. I know you do. So let's just get in on with this. Let's just see what happened. Let's see what my guy just saying. My guys really wanted me to do this specific video after I just got done talking about the Elon Musk and Epstein video. If you have not done so already, I just finished recording, going live. I'll probably say about like 15 minutes ago. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's begin. So a lot of you guys may have saw my community page post. I talked about how I've noticed a little bit of irregularities on Harris's Instagram account. She deleted all her 2024 what's called icons or highlights for the 2024 presidential election, which means that she might be positioning herself to run and seek the 2028 presidential election. I mean the presidency. But anyway, besides the point, what we're going to talk about in today's video is, can she get there? How will she get there? And what will be her likeliest path? Because we talked about this before. If you guys have been with me for quite a while, you might be very familiar with this book by now. But this book is called, and I quote, let me see, All Knowing, All Seeing, Thy Truth, Thy Future. And in this book, it specifically highlights how things are going to play out. And it says here that was recorded on December 31st, 2024, which is before we enter the 2025 year. You can see here that this was channel. The channel message at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in this specific channel, it talked about here. Let's see. It says Harris. Where's Harris? It says here, Harris shall seek a new path towards the presidency, for that she shall become. Then on January the 9th, 2025, you can see it here again. You can see towards the end, we talked about Harris again. And it says here, Harris will go on to win the 2028 election if she so chooses to seek it. For that, the presidency is already hers. So if Harris goes and decides to run in 2028, she will become president. Right? If she decides to pursue that route, it's given the option here that she has free choice of will here. But in order for her to usher in, it talks about two things. It says Harris may take her rightful place, but not before she finds and meets a young male. Tim Waltz is not likely to become a vice president, as we have other plans for her. Or we have other plans for him. Many women will lose their rights so that they themselves can be prepared and ready to usher in the first woman president. And it also needs to happen, right? This is also another thing that indicates about Harris. Let's see, is there another thing that indicates Harris? We have here my second challenge from Lady Liberty, what I just talked about in the previous live, right? This was channeled on February the 4th, 2025, right? And it says here, it will be that of a black woman holding a lantern into the night, a homage to the next era of America. America has not ended, but rather been renewed for a second season. You really think we would let you go that easily? Hell no. The America you know and love now is without a doubt gone. The possibility wiped from the history books. This may be for the best. A great restart after 45 is upon us, but not after it fails entirely. For that the sons of liberty shall rise to put up the next woman, a black one. We don't know how or when, but we do know it's coming. It takes such horrors to rewrite the course of history here in the US to finally face the truth and start its healing journey. Many faces of evil will be seen by those who seek it, but also by those who choose to do nothing and stay complicit. But do not be mistaken. They will be punished harsher and harder than those before them. This is because they had history to prevent it, but chose to ignore it, whereas those in Germany did not have anything to base it on except live it. However, Americans know the history and yet chose to ignore it. May you be punished for what's about to take place. I cannot speak on such horrors as disgust me what's happening and taking place on my land. Remember, evil cannot prevail here forever, as time is running out. This is Native Americans' land after all. The power of the people will be given back, and a new generation of Native American souls shall rise up. Be rested inside the souls of each American, and for that the land shall be blessed once again and feel grace once again. Do not mistake bad things to be forever, but no good things are coming too. Love always, Lady Liberty, America's Lady. And so you can see here there's also indication throughout a lot of my psychics channeling that I talked about the rise of Harris. And how Harris still has very much the plausibility and the possibility to become president if she decides to still seek it. So let's talk about it. Hello, James. Hello, Barbara. So let's talk. I actually have a candle lit for victims of Epstein. Because as we were talking about it felt right. As the spirit angels tell me, is Vice President Harris, the former Vice President Harris, running for the 2028 presidential election? Or will she become a vice president of a political candidate? Doesn't matter. Just tell me if she's running. These two cards come up here. Clarifier. That's the clarifier card. Let's take these. Which is the America Eclipse card. Take a look there. So Spirit Angels, tell me about former Vice President Harris. Is she running for the 2028 presidential election? Hello, Dennis. Is she running? I'm hearing this is the wrong deck. We're going to use a different deck. Can I use my homemade deck? Let's use my homemade deck. Well, I don't like how there's so much stuff everywhere. All right. Spirit Angel Tommy is former Vice President Harris fighting for the 2028 presidential election, the presidency. Is she running for the presidency in 2028? Anything else? Okay, so she's saying, according to what we'll get in the cards here, that there is going to be an attack on the U.S. This is something that I've been talking about for a while. It makes a lot of sense. There's foreign interference. So we're talking about the 2028 presidential election. We are already aware what's going to happen, what's going to take place. It's not something that, it's a prediction at this point. We've been through this multiple times, so I'm not even going to entertain it. But this video is just for entertainment purposes only and educational purposes. But you kind of see the story here, right? So the first card that comes in is the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords, we're talking about Harris, right? Is she seeking the 2028 presidential nomination? Is she going to seek the presidency again? Right? This is the 8 of Swords. It's telling me here that there's a mental capacity. There's a locking in. It feels like, in some way, she feels like her time is running out. Her purpose is running out. She feels like the water is not there for her anymore. It feels like it's drying. But what she doesn't realize, that's her eyes, that's her mental, because she believes that her support has dwindled, that people don't want her to be the presidential nominee. They don't want her, but that's all mental. Right? You see here, the water is rushing in. She feels the water, but for so long, because she couldn't see the water coming in, she always thought and felt that the water was leaving her. But really, support is represented by water, the emotion is coming towards her. This water is symbolizing her crying. And so this feels like very much like this is a very emotional thing for her. So if she does decide to do this, is it going to be something it can tell us about her emotional strength? We have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is reversed. And the Ace of Cups being reversed is indicating here that there's not going to be a lot of good blessings right now. It feels like she has to really put in the work for this. If she wants to become president, she has to realize that there is water coming. There is support for her. People do want her, but it's all mental, right? Don't listen to the negative comments. Don't listen to those things, right? This is a video just for her as well. If she decides to scroll upon this and watch this video. Don't listen to those negative comments, because those negative comments, they're not helping you, they're hindering you. But Spirit is saying you can run, you can do this. You just have to work at it. This is the Eight of Pentacles. They're saying here that you're almost done, you're almost complete the story. You just only have one more pentacle to go, and your story is complete. You can do this if you seek it again. You can do this if this is something that you truly want. That you're able to overcome this mental blockage. You can become president. And here you have it, the final outcome card here. We have here a decision that needs to be made. Do you really want the office? Do you really want to be the one in power? Do you really want what's coming? The next 4 years after Trump is going to be horrendous for the next president. The president's going to have a lot to do. The thing is, are you going to outweigh what do you want? What do you really want for the presidency? Do you really want to be president? And if you do, or do you want to be a leader of the new world? But are you able and willing and committed to rebuilding? Knowing that a next person right after you can destroy it all. Are you comfortable with that idea? Are you comfortable with that notion? And this is the Two of Swords here. And it's crossing the the Four of Pentacles. It's saying here that what do you want? What do you want? Right? This is her mental aspect. This is what she's thinking. And here you have it. What does she want? She wants to be empress. She wants to be president. So yeah, her desire is so very much there. The thing is that she just needs to get over this blockage. And once she gets over this blockage, she's in full campaign mode. She's in full campaign mode. So I feel like she's getting to this point. She's kind of like here. She's almost ending, and she's going to get into the Eight of Pentacles pretty soon, roughly. Roughly soon. I feel very much sooner than later, right? We do also have here as well is when we talk about it, what happened that led her to this mental point? What led her to this mental blockage? We have here the conservative government, a Republican government, leans Republican, right? She feels like she was caught off guard that she had to concede. But she understood about what the notion was. She understood what happened. But she had no choice, because it was too close to call. The polls showed it was too close. And so by challenging it, you feel like you're enabling what your predecessor did. And here you have also as well is that you also felt embarrassed that, you able to cause a Republican flip in a lot of these places, in Wisconsin, Iowa, almost Minnesota, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, right? This is how she feels. This is not me speaking for her. This is how she feels. She realizes that results would alter. So yeah, she knows about the altered results, because it was reversed. It was this way. She knows about the altered results. She knows about old technology. She knows about the voter suppression. She knows that she could have won, that this was her election to win. Well, she won. But she didn't have enough backing. She didn't have enough support. And when I say enough support, I don't mean like in terms of voter. I'm talking about the financial support, the ability to challenge the results. She did not have that backing, because in some way in her mind, she truly thought that she had this in the back. She truly thought that the amount of support that Biden had would override the results of any rigged election, because she saw it happen before. She saw it happen with her own eyes during her first time. She saw it during 2020. And this is the first time to me that I'm getting realization that the 2020 election could have been in some way faulty. And she realized that if you just get enough people, you might be able to override any attempt to thwart the democracy. But this time, they remodeled it. They fixed the errors of their ways in 2020. And it cost the Democrats the result. It cost the White House. It cost the government. It cost Congress. This is what she knows. This is what she knows. This is why she's in this mental blockage. She's asking herself, can I overcome this? Not only overcome the loss, the exposure to the people, right? But remember, her background, the Democrats now understand what truly happened in the 2024 election. She already knew what happened. She just didn't have the financial backing or support to back up her claims. She didn't have the time to launch a full independent investigation into the result. She had to make a decision. The decision that she ended up making was one of the where she did not want. She did not want to concede, but she didn't have a choice, because she realized that in a way that even if she was sworn in, they will consider her illegitimate. But so instead, she decided for them to make Trump go in as president and make people realize that he is illegitimate without her having to say anything. Because sometimes doing nothing can do something. And underneath this Ace of Cups reverse here, we have the swing state decide the election of 2004. Right? This is the election of 2004, right? Young people were starting to get out and vote from the early 1990s. They were able to make their voice heard, right? They heard about Bill Clinton, they heard about Bush, Reagan, all those. You have young voters here, millennials and Gen Z, between the ages of 18 to 29-year-old. Her biggest base is young voters. And if she realizes that these people actually do support her, she will be able to feel re-empowered. She'll feel re-engaged, reactivated. Because now she's getting to the point where what she always known happened, what she didn't do, had now become the fruition. People are realizing, people are waking up and seeing for what it really is. Because she knew that if she had waited and done nothing, allowed people to come to a realization themselves, then she would feel vindicated. She would feel justice has been served. Because her people, the people who backed her, even people who didn't back her, will always come back to her because they themselves will feel sorry because they knew in their hearts that even when they went out and voted, there was a slim chance she could never make it to the White House. And not because she was not capable, not because she was unqualified, but simply because the system was stacked against her. That the system was designed to withstand against anybody who challenges the normal, anybody who challenges what the system that created the hacking machine, the system that was created. And as she starts to get to this realization, start realizing that people actually do support her, right? And people do actually support her. When she gets to this realization, what she already is, she's kind of getting to the point now where she's kind of like in this period. We have the Eight of Pentacles. I have a very strong feeling she's gonna start campaigning. She's gonna be a lot more active based in some way. However, her best bet would be to run for governor, but also announce your presidential ambition. The reason for this is you need to be in the spotlight, right? And there's no better way to be in the spotlight than be in the biggest state with the biggest amount of money. And so you can challenge Trump and be in the spotlight, be the battle, make yourself have name recognition, show that you can be competitive, show that you can be a battle. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, she doesn't need experience, she's overqualified. Yeah, she absolutely is overqualified, if anything. But people never seen Harris in action. They always saw her on the sidelines waiting to become president, but they never saw her in action. Her best bet is to be governor, show your action, go up against Trump. And so when it comes to the presidential election in 2028, people have seen it. They've seen what you can do. They see what you're capable of. This would be such a great thing for her. And this is just my opinion. This is not what the cards say. But in the past, the cards did say that she should seek the governor's race. And it makes a lot of sense when you look at it from that perspective, right? And here you have the Two of Swords and the Four of Pentacles, right? Is that what does she want? What does she want? And here is the U.S. Postal Service. This is the Postal Service. It means something slow. But also, what does she want? She sees herself as the eagle. She sees herself as president. Remember Code Eagle? Eagles on the move, eagles on the move. That's what it feels like. That is what Harris wants. And in the end, she really wants to be president. She wants to be the emperor. So it feels like the ambition is still very much there. Maybe some of your comments. And a lot of you guys have commented. Okay, Dennis Thomas said, I live in PA and have all my life. I came up with slogans that I put on a couple t-shirts. Okay, interesting. Desmond, I like this. I want to know, Chris, when will a Democrat leader get into office in 2028? Will they reverse everything the felon did? I kind of briefly explained this before that it's going to be very difficult and she needs to come to the realization. Hello, Nathan. How are you, my love? She needs to come to the realization that if she decides to seek the presidency, she needs to get comfortable with the idea that she can fix everything, but doesn't mean it's permanent. That the next president or the next person comes in, it could destroy it all again. And so right now, that is her mindset. That is what she knows subconsciously. That is what she's considering. That is what she's weighing out right here. or in the midterm? Will it have a majority in the House or Senate for Democrats Party? Okay, so let me ask about this. In the past readings that I've done many times before in the 2026 midterm, I've gotten consistently the Republicans lead as of now. The Republicans are in the favorite to win the midterm. The reason for this is because there's something going on with the gerrymander. But here's the caveat though. In the most recent 2026 video that I did a reading for one of the live, and it came up as the Democrats win, but then the result is completely rejected and the result is canceled. So something happened. So even if the Democrats win, there's an off chance that the Democrats may not go into power because the result is canceled or undecided or redone or whatever it is. I don't know how they're going to play this, but it does feel like in some way this is going to be very competitive. And in one of my visions that I had back in 6 years ago, I think, I saw that if I was to run for Congress, which I would consider running for the 2026 midterm congressional races, the result in the U.S. election will be decided by one seat, and it'll be about 217 to 18. It's going to be very narrow. It's going to be so narrow, in fact, it's going to be the craziest thing you've ever seen. It will be the first time anything like that has ever happened in American history. The closest was 5 to 2 seats. This will be one seat margin, one seat error. And then if I were to win, I will make that to 18. But then to the keynote here is that everything is very competitive. The midterm is not decided yet, and it's too hard to really know what party is going to win in the midterm because so much is changing. They're already considering, in the state of Florida today, was already announced that they're already open to the idea of redistricting, changing the result in the congressional districts. Gerrymandering is a big issue now. And that is what we're happening right now. So let's take a look. We'll take a look at it, but I can't guarantee anything. Okay, Spirit Angel, tell me about the 2026 midterm. Okay. Okay, and then who is the party in power in the midterms? Who's the party that dominates? Who's the party that dominates? Okay. We have here the result is pending. This is not set in stone. This is not set in stone. Let me make sure that's very clear. This is not set in stone because the Knight of Pentacles is saying things can change tomorrow. For example, if let's say Florida redistricts its congressional districts, the results had to get changed. We're not going to really know who's going to be in power in the midterm until we get closer. And remember what I said before from my previous video with the Elon Musk and Epstein. I talked about how Donald Trump has up until September 2026 to become a full-fledged dictator. If he doesn't, he loses. Okay. Going into your question here. We have the Queen of Swords reversed. This is normally the Democrats. This is the liberal Democrat. This is not the liberal Democrat. This is the centrist Democrats. These are the moderate Democrats. These are the conservative Democrats. These are the do-nothing Democrats. These are the ones that are not progressive. These are not socialist. These are your typical Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi or Cory Booker type Democrats, right? This is the Queen of Swords reversed. It's being challenged by resistance. The Seven of Swords here. It's reversed because there is going to be a video that I did have this in my in my list of videos to cover, what's it going to be talked about very soon, what I have not done yet. But you can see here that I wrote down the Democrats' Tea Party movement begins, right? And so what does it indicate? What does the Queen of Swords reverse indicate with the Seven of Swords reverse? It indicates that those who do not listen to their voters, who do not listen to their constituents, they are going to lose. These are Democrats. The Democrats are also going to fall. You'll see a lot of big-name Democrats who are being paid by big donors. They're out. They're done. They're gone. That's going to narrow the majority for the Democrats here. Then we have a big tower moment, a big change coming, a big strike, and something that is so abnormal, something that had shaken the race up, is about to change everything. Hello, Brenda. Something's about to happen that's going to shake up everything. It's the Tower card. It's the woman. The women in particular are going to change something. Maybe it's one woman, it's multiple women, I don't know. But there's a woman that changes everything. Now remember, this election, this midterm, it's going to be on also those who have been victimized by the Epstein scandal. This is going to be very relevant in the midterms. Women are powerful here. But also, women will play a big role in the result as well. Many will lose their rights. Many will lose their ability to vote. And that will shake up the result as well. The next card that comes in is the Eight of Pentacles here. That those who are going to be elected in the next Congress are going to be those who actually go out and talk to their supporters, who go out and talk to their constituents. These are people who are not being paid by lobbies. These are people who actually sit there and listen to people. Listen to what their voices are, concerned, and come back with a solution. This is the Eight of Pentacles. This is the Aquarius Congress. This is the energy that people are no longer voting on the Capricorn Congress. Capricorn is the Congress that we have right now. Look how bad it is. But the Aquarius, we are now going to be into officially Aquarius energy, which means the people will be voting on people. Are they supporting me or are they supporting those above me? That's the question that's on a lot of voter minds. And who is going to be the victorious? Well, we're going to find out in a minute. We have a double card reverse. This is the Republican Party. Right? We have the Democrats here as well on this side. The Democrats are represented as the Queen of Swords reverse. Right? These are the centrists, the moderates, those who sit back and do nothing. These are the complicit Democrats, the Democrats that chose to do nothing and did not do anything. They're going to lose. And that's going to narrow the Democrats' majority. But also here the Republicans. They're also reverse. Why? Because of the president. So what does this mean? What does this mean? What does the 2026 midterms indicate to us? It indicates to us very clearly the Democrats are going to lose support and hammer support on those who choose to do nothing, who choose to not represent the people. Right? That's what this indicates here. The Republicans, though, are also going to be hammering support. They're losing support. These are Republicans who do nothing, just back spinelessly the Republicans' agenda. Back spinelessly the presidency agenda. But it also indicates something very clear as well. I'm also getting this in my ear. I'm also hearing this also indicates those who went against the agenda, those who went against the president, who went against the idea, a concept. This also indicates as well Elon Musk putting money in to back other candidates other than the Republican primary them. So what is happening here? We have Democrats who are going to try to take out other Democrats. Then we have the Republicans who are fighting to have to make a choice, either decide with Trump and risk getting primary by Elon, or go against Trump but being risked and get primary by Trump. These are the two things that's going on in the 2026 midterm. Not to mention something big shaked up the race with the Tower card. Something big with women, specifically a woman in particular, or many women, specifically relating to losing rights and stuff like that. And then here we have the election of people choosing those who go out and actually to talk to their constituents, who talk to their people. These are the people who are going to get elected. These are your social democrats. These are your moderate Republicans. Those who just go out on the campaign trail and just campaign for those constituents. Because while the moderate Democrats are fighting the progressive were actually going out and talking to people. You have the Republicans who are actively engaged in their own division, that the people are standing there waiting like, who the hell is fighting for me? Who the hell is fighting for me? We have the moderate Democrats doing nothing. And you have the Republicans fighting with themselves, and there's no one representing me. And this is the class divide. This is exactly where they come in, and people who are talking to you directly, who are you going to vote for? Think about it this way. If somebody's talking to you directly and said, this is what I'm going to do for you, while you have two other people fighting and bickering behind the scenes, who are you going to vote for? Are you going to vote for the two people fighting, or are you going to vote for the one talking to you? Your answer is pretty much clear, right? The answer answers itself. And here at the bottom of the deck is we have the Knight of Pentacles. The result is pending. Because like I said before, the result is still in question. The result is not yet determined, which means it can change tomorrow. This is the energy as of now, not the energies of tomorrow. The topic deck here is we have the government, the Hierophant, and the Knight of Swords. Something changing. It looks as of right now the wind blow in the Democrat direction narrowly. Not very much. It's not going to be a blowout. It's definitely not going to be a blowout, that's for sure. Okay. Let me take a look at some of your questions. My throat is like so dry right now. Okay, Dennis Thomas, both parties, whether Republican. Okay, I gotta be careful with saying this stuff. Are corrupt, and there really isn't any of them that really care about the poor. Do you ever notice when people are running for government position, they always talk about working class, but never about what they're going to do for the poor? That is true, and that's going to change soon. Desmond, yeah, we have to do an update near 2026, another update near projectile reading. Absolutely, there will be another update, that's for sure. They always talk about the middle class in the UK as well. That's interesting. I know Dennis has a question, so let's take a look at it. What happened if Trump leaves the presidency and Vance can't do it, and Speaker Johnson is no longer Speaker? Would Obama be brought back in? No. No. Obama's done. Nope. Nope. I'll read on Obama for you, but no. Obama's not coming back. Okay, Spirit Angel, tell me, will Obama be back in the Oval Office again in terms of being president or the leader of the free world? Quoted. Yes or no? Okay, so this card comes up as wishful thinking. No. Like I said before, no. His time is up. His time is up. If you want a repeat of Donald Trump again, then you're going to get Obama. Remember what I said before, many times before, and I have been saying this for a while. One thing I've gotten many times when I was 8 years old is that wherever a black person follows, a white supremacist is not far behind. If you want Donald Trump again, and you put Obama in there, a white supremacist is going to be right behind them. Because no matter where a black person walks, no matter where they go, no matter how high they go, there's a white supremacist who's looking to take them down. The best thing that you can do for Obama is to let him rest. He did his term. He did his best. He's done. Let him leave. Let him go. Obama did his best. You know, if you listen to Michelle Obama talk about her experience in the White House, the reason why Michelle Obama would never run for president ever is look at how she talked about what his life was like in the White House. She does not want that for her kids. She does not want that for her family. Obama can't do that for his family. Michelle won't ever let him do that. You're looking at a divorce. And the best thing that we can do for Obama is to let him have his family. We had 8 years of him. And that's the best thing that we can do for him is to give him back the rest of those years and let him live out his life with his family. Trump is taunting him. Right? We are looking for hope and change. Obama represented hope and change. But sometimes you have to look elsewhere. You have to let somebody else take the next mantle. Let them take the torch. Don't always look backward. Sometimes look forward. And I get that Obama represented something in all of us. He represented change. He represented all that hope. And that's exactly what we need. That's our desire. But don't let it consume you. Because that is when we become clouded. That's when we become blind. Obama's not coming back. His time is done. So he's going to stay in the ashes, in the far distance. He'll be there. But he won't be front and center. I know this is not the answer that you've been hoping for, but I hope it's the answer that you need to hear. Okay. Like I've told people for years, government has never represented me, and they haven't either. They represent themselves and the wealthy. That's for sure. But also, look at people, whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't care what they are. If they are willing to do it and they have a record, and even if they don't, you can put your blind trust in them. If they don't, you can vote them out the next year. So there's always something you can do, right? Okay, this is interesting. It's not a question I ever covered before, so I wouldn't ask this. And I know that Brenda was also asking this as well. So let's take a look. Will the presidency be vacant if the whole Trump administration will be removed? Spirit Angel, tell me, will the U.S. presidency experience a vacancy where everybody's removed due to criminal activity or anything that forces them to be out of the White House and out of power? Will there be a vacancy? No. 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 Okay, so the answer to your question is, will the presidency be vacant if the whole Trump administration is to be removed? It does not matter how it happened. Even if the whole administration gets removed, it gets replaced by the same old, same old. This is the king of wands. The one that comes after will be a Republican. Right? This will be a Republican. You're not gonna don't like change something and expect different results. You're gonna get the same individual, same belief, same everything, just different puppet. This is the king of wands here. You're hoping for the Queen of Pentacles. You're hoping for somebody who cared, who looked down at the money and said, what can I do with this? What can I bring with this? And you're not going to get that right now. You're not going to get that. Because right now you have a king of wands, somebody who's looking to create something new. You have somebody who's looking to create something new with the idea and the concept that they believe in, that they feel in. They're going to do it with confidence, and they're going to do it with cold-bloodedness. That's the reptile in them. That's the reptile energy. And here we have this Ace of Swords reversed. This is the ending of the administration. This is the ending. This is taking somebody out. It's reverse. Because you're not taking that sword, you're not running it through the king, the crown. You're not removing the core pieces. It's like, for example, the best way I could put it, it's like taking an avocado, right? And you eat the avocado whole, but not expecting the pit to still be there. Right? You take the pit out sometimes, but you leave the skin and you bite into it as if it's like an apple. The skin is still there, whether you want to admit it or not. It's part of the fruit. It's part of the vegetable, if you will. This is the Ace of Swords here, saying here that you can take the pit out and put a new pit in, or leave it out and season it. Doesn't make it anything less than an avocado. It's still an avocado, whether without or with the pit. This is the Ace of Swords saying here that in the end, even if you take the crown out, you take everything that makes it out, there's still going to be a part of it that still makes it a Republican presidency. And here you have it, the 10 of Swords here. It's still going to be the end of the story. Remember, this is the end of the United States as we know. This is the end of the story. You cannot change the story. This has been pre-written. This is already pre-designed by Spirit. This is something that has been in America's birth chart from the beginning. If you want to know the best way that this is going to go, is look at history in the United States. Look at history. History is the best key indicator to determine how things are going to go around the world, how things are going to go here in the United States. Because the U.S. is returning back to the very point that it was at its highest point when the United States was born. And right now, what you're seeing in the United States now is what it was like back in 1776. This is what life was like. The book didn't indicate that. The history book didn't indicate that. Because remember, history is rewritten by those who won, who redesigned, who refix the book in their liking. But remember one thing though, you cannot change how history happened. You can change the story, yes, but it will always come back the same way it started. You cannot change the astrological movement, the astrological experience, the astrological energy of the planet Uranus. And Uranus and Pluto is now in the US birth chart officially. It talks about the end of the United States. So even if you remove Donald Trump or you remove JD Vance, the story is still there. It has to complete a cycle. And if you hinder it and you change it and you take it out, then you are destroying the new America, the new one that's coming afterwards. I have seen consistently across all my reading from 2020 until now that it's always indicated that the best way forward for the United States is to go through this. And if in any way you hinder this ability to go through, you will enter into a different timeline. You will enter into authoritarianism. You will enter into fascism and dictatorship. Right? US has to go through that. This is part of the story. It has started like this. It has to end the same way. And because of that, the US will be reborn. It will be rebirthed into a new version. Remember, I talked about many times before that I saw an outcome that if the United States avoided fascism and had Harris as president, the US will collapse entirely because it did not go its healing process. Because it was always just Harris. But if Harris didn't become president and we went through fascism, we went through dictatorialism, we went to authoritarianism, a technocracy, if you will, oligarchy, all of those words, fancy it instead. But if you go through that, we come out better for it because the sooner you do something, the faster the result comes. And what comes of that? Well, we enter into a timeline, a scenario where democracy actually thrives in the United States, where democracy actually is a real thing. The US had never had a democracy before. It's always been a republic. It always has and always will be. At least this current America is. But the next one doesn't have to be. And that's what's so beautiful about going through something like this. Because as we start to get to the other side, as we start to get to the light, you start to realize that it doesn't have to always be like this. But in order for us to understand this, as a collective society, we have to go through it. We cannot go around it because if you avoid the problem was always going to be there, except it's going to be bigger. Have you ever noticed something that you ever like got this internal knowing and spirit tells you not to do something, you do it anyway? Or like just say, for example, the best way is that spirit tells you you have to leave your job. You have to go for something else better for you, but you refuse because you feel comfortable. You feel relaxed. You feel like everything just you're in the right place at the right time. But then after a while, 6 months later, spirit said, "You're not listening to me. We're gonna find a way to get you out, and it's gonna be bigger and badder and worse than you expected." And sometimes you ask yourself, "I should have just did it when spirit told me to do it." And that is the whole thing here: is that if you avoid the thing that spirit telling you, it will come out worse than it should have been if you had followed it. And the U.S. right now is following its life purpose. Right now, it's following its purpose. So, in a way, this is actually a better outcome for all of us. Even if you don't realize it now, it's a better outcome for everybody. Yes, a lot of people are going to suffer, but imagine the amount of people who could have suffered had we chose to avoid this outcome, right? And I know it's harder to believe that, and I know it's harder to completely understand that, but that's exactly what I've been getting for a very long time. Remember I told you back in 2021 that there was going to be an attack and a change in leadership in July of 2024. We saw that happen. I didn't know how to transcribe the energy because I was not allowed to know, but the energy was there. I talked about how a woman was going to come about and Donald Trump was going to defeat her. But yet he was never going to be the winner. That the person who won the presidency was not going to be the one who became president. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I thought that if Donald Trump was declared the winner in 2024, that Donald Trump would not be president. But what I didn't realize was that it indicated fraud. It indicated election interference. And that's what that truly meant. That's what Spirit meant back in 2021. Is that it indicated that the winner would not become president. And think about the world. Think about the environment. Think about everything going on right now in Donald Trump. This is going to be the hardest year for Donald Trump's life. And it's only going to get worse over the next 4 years, especially next year when we peak with Pluto return. Imagine that for Harris. Do you want Harris for that? Do you really want to put her through much torture? Or do you want her to be the one that reborn the nation? Remember what happened under Egypt. Egypt didn't listen. The same situation happened to Egypt with Cleopatra. They had an emperor, or well, I think is it an emperor? I don't know. I forgot. A pharaoh, maybe. I think it was a pharaoh. And they had Cleopatra, the last one. The woman came in right at the end of 250 years old. What happened to Egypt? Disappeared. Right? The U.S. Remember, according to the what's it called, the Staker Challenge with the Statue of Liberty we talked about earlier in the video. America has been renewed for a second season. Right? You can't have a woman there. You gotta have a man. A woman comes after the man, right? Because she's gonna be the one that does the healing. Harris is the healer. She's not a fixer. She's a healer. We need a healer. She's gonna be a healer. All right, let's go. Let's talk about some of your responses. Let's see. It says here, that's a great question. What if the felon leaves the president if the vice president can't do it? Mike Johnson will leave. Good question, Dennis. Yeah, like I said, it's still gonna be Republican. Doesn't matter how that happened. Will there come a time when one person is not the president, but that would be a group of 5 or 7 people, so one person can't be bribed? Okay, that's already happened in the U.S. It's like an oligarchy, but I assume you're probably more so talking in the lines of how Switzerland does it. But Did I get that in the past? Is that possible? I'm talking to my spirit guides. No. They're saying no, the United States has to go through democracy, so it has to become the illusion that it created and actually become what the illusion that it created. Right? So no, that doesn't represent the illusion. I have recently thought it should be a group of people to run America temporarily, like a coalition government. Although I like the idea, I don't think it will work. When there was a Second World War, there was a coalition government. That's interesting. I had no idea. Uh, Dana, childbirth is extremely exhausting and can be brutal, but the outcome is hopeful. You should be in love with your country like a new parent. Women need to play a big part in New America. They are going to play a big part. With all that's going on in government, will there be another deadly virus on the horizon? Yes. I said this before. If you watched my previous video a long time ago, I talked about will there be another pandemic? I'm not even going to entertain the question because I already did the video. I said that the COVID was going to happen twice. Let me just pull up that video for you so you guys can go ahead and watch it on your own time. But I will hold it up. Pandemic. I did a lot of videos actually on the pandemic, but this one is particular. It says here, will this be our last pandemic? Right. This was recorded on February the 8th, 2021. All right. This is going to answer your question, Dennis. I know you actually watched that video a long time ago, so you might have forgotten about it, but just in case. All right. So this is definitely went way out of line where we were supposed to go with Harris. So let's just finish off with one more question for Harris, and then we're ending the live because I like to kind of keep things in order. So if you're watching the video, I want you to be all about Harris and stuff like that. So you guys probably already noticed about I'm a little OCD on that. All right, so Spirit Angel, tell me about Harris. Is there anything else that we need to know about the Harris 2028? Is there anything else that we need to know about Harris 2028? Oh, look, it's 111 on my clock. Ooh, okay. It's really like warm in here. It's like humid in my house. It's weird. Okay. Let me see. Is there anything overlaying the energies of the 2028 election? Will there be anything overlaying the energies of the 2028 election, spirits and angels? Is there anything going to be overlaying the energies of the 2028 election for Harris? These are actually cards that I made myself, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. Anything else? They told me I got it, so that's it. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look. We're talking about what else do we need to know about the 2020 presidential election if Harris decides to run for president. We have Justice Clyburn. This is the Republicans. The Republicans are down. Whether this means with support, they're collapsing, there's division, whatever it is, the Republicans are down in the 2020 election. We have here a woman, was it the Queen of Wands? She was represents normally Donald Trump in this aspect for some weird reason, but it also represents Harris as well. So let's see what this card is being interpreted as. The challenge is the moon. The moon is hidden right now. The Queen of Wands is hidden. Right now, this woman is coming. So if the 2020 election was to happen with Harris fighting for the presidency again, the moon is indicating that her face is hidden. Something is hidden with Harris or a woman in 2028. We're not going to know who this person is just yet. But here's the emperor. This is the president. This is the male. This is a male Republican. That's why he's in red. That's why he is on the throne right now. He's old. He's wise. He has experience, if you will. But here you have it, the Queen of Cups. She's looking to cap. She's looking to control. She's looking to contain something. This is a woman who's keeping a very close eye on the cup, but this time she has a lid. She's making sure that lid doesn't bubble and boil over. She's making sure something is contained. Like she's washing very closely. And what is also going to be washed is the presidency, the balance, the equilibrium. Remember, the inside must be the same as the outside, right? Otherwise, you start boiling, right? Think of it like a hot stove of water when you're trying to make pasta, right? When you put too much water or too much salt or whatnot, it starts to boil over, or too much pasta, the noodles will start to boil and the water starts to overlap. You have to find the equilibrium. And if you find the equilibrium in washing the presidency, the star card, the harmonious energy, if she's able to make this equal balance, she'll be able to get it. She just got to find that perfect balance where it doesn't boil over. Just stays just above, just below the lid to not boil. And underneath the justice card reverse, we have the devil card. The devil card is the dictator, corruption, the oppression, right? This is the Republican. This is the fall of the Republicans, which indicates around this time period, if Harris does decide to seek the presidency, we're going to see a scenario where Donald Trump is not even in the Oval Office by this time. It doesn't feel like Donald Trump is around. The energy of Trumpism is still very much relevant, but Donald Trump, nowhere to be found. Underneath this Queen of Wands, though, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. People, there is no division here. There is no class divide between young, old, and middle. There's some way something has been ended. University has ended. I don't know why I said the word university, but maybe there is a university here. But it almost feels like in some way there was an ending of something between classes of people of different age groups. And here you have, as well as you have drug alcohol addiction. It means here crack and heroin, but it's reverse. Why? Because of shadow government, the New World Order, right? Secret societies, Illuminati, and deep state. Nothing evil here, it's reverse. New World Order goes underneath the woman, right? Why is there no class divide? Because the New Order has been insinuated, which makes a lot more sense now. If you get to the Emperor here, which is, the Republican energy here, the Republican presidency, we have here is the Two of Swords here. It's not a foregone conclusion. There's no guarantee there will be a Democrat elected in 2028. Why? Well, because here we have in reverse, we have the Democrats hold the White House. They can't hold the White House if they're not in the White House, right? But if you flip the card, you have Democratic enthusiasm being very high. The Democratic enthusiasm was very high during the 2028 presidential election, which means that there was a system that was already created. There was a system. New World Order is prior to 2025, right? And so the fact that this comes in tells us that a lot of people, the division, the divide, the class has ended. There's something here that the division has ended. There's a separation of people from all different backgrounds divided, and there's very high enthusiasm for the 2020 election. And it makes a lot more sense why the Democrats cannot hold the White House, because they're not the one in power right now, but they can flip it. And if they have just enough enthusiasm, they can win the election. I mean, I'm going to talk about this woman who's washing very carefully, making sure the stove top doesn't bubble over, right? It doesn't bubble. It just stays just at the right temperature. It doesn't bubble, right? And here you have, as well as you have the Queen of Pentacles reverse. This is what people want, right? People want something different. And it feels like very much so that if Harris was to seek the presidency, she needs to position herself as a progressive, not as a centrist, not as a moderate, but as a progressive. Because if she does not, she's losing. But she needs to present herself as a progressive. And I know that Miss Piggy, hello Miss Piggy, you asked, can we have AOC instead of Harris? It's very well possible, because remember I talked about beginning of this video? I mean, not the beginning of this video, but beginning of this reading. I talked about how the Queen of Wands normally represents Donald Trump, but also represents Harris, normally a woman, right? But then it kept telling me that we don't know who this woman is. Her face is hidden. Even though we're talking about Harris, it doesn't indicate this has anything to do with Harris. Which tells me that there's a possibility now where Harris may not run in 2028. And if that's the case, a new woman can take her place, and this one has to be a socialist. This has to be a progressive candidate. If they were to win the presidency, they have to be progressive. You cannot have moderate. You cannot have centrist. Remember, there's a Tea Party movement going on in the Democrats. They have to make a choice. Do you want moderatism and centrism and risk the possibility of losing the White House? Or would you rather go progression? Because remember, one thing that history has always shown us is that the only way you can defeat fascism is with progressiveness, with socialist ideas. Believe it or not, that's the only thing that ever seemed to win against fascism. Because in the end, fascism is a socialist identity, but it's a far right version of socialism. Right? Remember, it was the Nazi Party was the National Socialist Party of Germany, right? But then you have socialism, which is the not communism, but socialism as like helping people, bringing people together, progressive ideals. And you put the two together on two opposite sides of the spectrum, people will choose humanity over darkness. Right? There are two versions. One is the shadow, the other is the light. The light can defeat the darkness. You cannot put a moderate up against a fascist. It won't work. The fascist will overshadow the energy of the moderate. Because in the end, moderate is closer to fascism than the progressive is to the light. Think of it that way. And so, underneath the presidency card here, right, we have the presidency, the star card. Find that equilibrium, find that balance, right? And here you have it, the Five of Wands here. The Five of Wands is people fighting, resistance, right? People are fighting for what does America mean? Remember, America already decided what America was and how the story is going to go with Donald Trump being elected. But in 2028, it's going to finally ask the question, what is America's ideology? Is it democracy? Is it communism or dictator? Is it fascism and nationalism? Is it American ideology? And here you have is the energy path. And here you have on the top, it was straight up. I didn't even have to do anything. It was straight up. The path that is going to go is towards democracy. Not towards communism, not towards fascism, not towards dictator or authoritarianism, but towards democracy. That is the choice that they're going to have to make. But in the end, America might choose democracy. Like I said, America has to go through a period of fascism. It has to go through this dark period to come out on the other side. All right. Let's take a look at some of your questions and then we'll finish up. I'm not going to do any more questions. I'm kind of done for today. My throat is killing me. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Trump will leave because of his sickness or health problem plaguing him. Now, no, I don't think so. I think if anything, they're going to try to push him out. We're using that. If he needs a way out, he has a way out now. Brenda said, let's see what Brenda said. Whoever needs a new leader needs to promise healthcare, housing, childcare, and education the very best and world's leading. America deserves the best. Bring prices down permanently. Hello, Tracy. How are you, my love? And you know what's really interesting too? I don't know if you guys remember this, but where is that? Oh. Okay, this is my manifestation. That's not what you need. This is my second channel. Remember when I did the Happy Death Day series, which is going to be revived soon? But remember I was talking about that and how it tells it the story of how Donald Trump dies and all that stuff? Let's talk about the game plan, Operation 2347. Ironically, if you add 2 and 2 and 3, it makes a 5. 45, 47. Does that make any sense? Okay, so this says here game plan. Operation 2347. Channels at 2:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May the 8th, 2025. Let's see here, it's really written down. As you'll know or have heard our message regarding Happy Death Day and a new dawn, we are writing to you to let you know the game plan. You may find yourself wondering right about now, what game plan? Well, I got news today. You'll find out. Trump represents the evil of the United States of America. But he represents it so well because at its core, it has always been evil that won. America was founded on evil principles, and it will die for those same principles that erected it. Its own undoing, if you will. The reason for what's happening now is due to evil. Therefore, the only way to rid of it is to die. America must die to be saved. It must fall so others can finally see how treacherous they were to the core value and empty promise of liberty and justice for all. Trump's death will mark the end of a cycle and the removal of an old. It may appear good, but this period will be met with failure for that the next president or leader who promises to, okay. It may appear good, but for this period will be met with failure for the next president or leader who swears to restore the old dog and order. America, have you not learned that the reason for Trump is to out the evil to the public and degrade every part of government? You are not to restore it, but to build back better. Anyone who promises to restore overbuilding will be met with failure. They will rather restore the old system that created Trump than start fresh. It was never about you. Trump gave them what they never had, power. When presented with the right conditions, Democrats will become the same as when MAGA. Be independent of such belief and do not buy into the two-party BS. Stand in your morals and be ready to defend them against two-party theocracy. Quote, an independent is coming. Democrats may betray you next. Remember that? Remember that channeling that I had? You see here, an independent coming. And what comes out 2 months later? An independent party, a new party comes out of the ashes. Let's talk about the next one. We have here the rise of the independent. Right, channels at 2:54 p.m. on May the 8th, 2025. Right, let's read it. As we spoke before about the game plan 2347 and the brief mention of Trump's death, and our warning to not follow any leader whose plan it is to restore the old dog, but rather build back better, to stay independent in your own thoughts and to not buy into the two-party theocracy. I spoke of Democrats betraying you possibly because Trump gave them what they never had, power, real power. They are one of the same like MAGA. Do not be fell to it, for that an independent is coming. He will come at a time when the two parties are drunk on power. You will know for that there will be a pineapple with a spiky animal representing this party. It's possible this person may come from the tropics or may have a scandal related to the island. Remember I talked about an island? What the island is right now. What party just came out of the ashes, right? And also is in relation to the island. Epstein, right? Let me read it back to you again. It will come at a time when the two parties are drunk on power. You would know for that there will be pineapples with spiky animal representing this party. It's possible this person may come from the tropics or may have a scandal related to an island. But it's made up. Watch for the party or person who mentioned this on the campaign trail, for that they themselves are guilty and just projecting. He, however, will not win this election, but will come very close to doing so. This will be the last election where both the Democrats and or the Republicans have a significant support. There is a 57% probability that Democrats and Republicans will merge together. The frontrunner may or may not run in the next election, but his party will surely be there. A new progressive party will rise due to its inspiration in this election, and a group of independents known as the Washingtonians, with an oath to no party loyalty. America, if had not done so already, would do away with its current structure of government to better account for a multinational party system. This is the best version of the United States for a more true and proper democratic system. America chose fascism, but it's what comes afterwards that mattered the most. Either way, it was coming one way or another, so you might as well have it now, so the greatness could begin after. The reason for Trump coming was simple: to destroy a fake democracy where leaders are already pre-chosen and instead replace it with the words it once spoke. We, the people, will only accept a life through the pursuit of happiness because of a truer and liberty and justice for all. Choose others over individualism, democracy over party. End of channel at 3:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May the 8th, 2025. I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with all that. Just show up all that information. Hello, Taurus. I see. Do you guys want me to finish reading the story? Maybe just connect the story together? The 6th, the 2nd. Oh, this should go first. Okay. We already read this one. We have unity. We talk about Trump death. Does anyone want to know about Trump death? Because that would also be kind of important. Okay, so let's talk about Trump death. So this is called understanding the nature of Trump death, channeled at 1:40 p.m. on May 20th, 2025. Let's read it. As many of you may have heard about the bizarre nation where Trump supposedly dies, his outcome is not fixed, but rather that of which is based on two sole factors: Biden's faith and his willingness to follow the divine order. Power may have gotten to his head, and his soul may have not want to let go, but he has to. He has no choice in the matter. If he is not somehow gone within the next 5 days, which is the May 25th, 2025, then expect May 25th to mark the day in which his body breaks down in such a rapid manner that within months he's unrecognizable. With his sheer weight loss, Trump can go out many ways, from being shot at out of the sky, plane crashes, car crash, assassination, food poisoning, lead poisoning, STDs, drug overdose, stress, AIDS, cancer, kidney failure, apnea, which means he dies in his sleep. As you see, there are many ways, but most are not natural, but rather self-inflicted or inflicted upon him by the natural order. Trump's death is strange yet natural. It will feel real yet fake, a feeling of having to experience it before. That is true because you have. He lives in every timeline, and that is why it feels like he's invincible. But be not of understanding, for that all is connected. And remember, we told you about him. Okay, hold on. Let me see. But be not of understanding, for that all is connected. And remember, we told you about him screwing with time. Well, you will now know that'll affect the ways he goes. So because of him screwing with time, it's going to affect how he dies. At times, his death will feel real, but also not, because he will be taken to court by, to quote, the impossibles for messing with time. His body may not be of the current one, but rather that of an older version of him, replaced by himself, not even a clone, but rather a time capture copy, one that wasn't supposed to exist. If Trump doesn't follow his sole purpose, on May 25th, 2025, they'll be coming to take him away by any means necessary. He has 5 days to hold up his end of the bargain, or quote, the impossible will seize him. This is the channeling at 2:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 20th, 2025. Yes, he lived in every timeline. That's correct, Taurus. We have here the last one, which is quote, "We're the impossible," channeled at 2:16 p.m. on May 20th, 2025. Let me just turn the light on because I can't really see. Hi, greeting Earthlings. We come to inform you of a bizarre phenomenon happening not only within our galaxy, but across time as well. Therefore, our team of highly classified and trained individuals were designed to meet the very moment that we are experiencing now. We may appear to be extraterrestrial, but we are anything but that. Instead, we are closely working with the angelic realm to solve the timeline crisis which we have done. We restored the original with minor changes. Trump's uncle played a role here, but in order for the new timeline to work, he must go. To work, he must go missing, but he failed because Trump surmised. Okay. Sorry, my bad. Trump's uncle played a role here, but in order for the new timeline to work, he must go missing. But to mess with time. Oh yeah, okay, so it goes missing, but that fails because Trump still managed to have the ingredient to mess with time. So we restored everything back as we said with oh my god, I can't even read. Okay, hold on. So we restored everything back as we said with Trump history intact. No matter what we did to restore the order prior to Trump receiving time sensitive matter, they always managed to have him arrested and charged for attempt to alter time. The reason for this, for his own mother manic episode, is a direct side effect of screwing with time. It's interesting how simple the time truly is when you do away with the man-made nonsense. But anyway, we wanted to reach out to you guys to let you know you're gonna start to see weird, unexplainable things. It's just us. Trump and his regime may say it's an alien attack in the last attempt to get away with it. So that is why we plan to take him near his death day, which is why for a moment it will feel fake, but it's not. Just a younger version taking his place as the older one gets put on trial. You will see a lot more of us after Trump. We will wink on TV so you know it's us. Hopefully you'll remember. Be of the light with the light always being possible. To end the channel at 3:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May the 20th, 2025. I do want to apologize. I could not read this. It was way too difficult to read. My handwriting is way too script. But yeah, so that's what I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching. I love you and peace out. It's 11:11 by the way. Bye.